And also use the chat box to share resources, jobs. So today, it's also the World's Arts Day. The date was decided in honor of the birthday of Leonardo da Vinci. He was chosen as a symbol of world peace, freedom of expression, tolerance, brotherhood, and multiculturalism, as well as for his influences in all forms of art. So how convenient is that? And with so many people still directly affected by the virus and billions of people still in lockdown, I think we know that the World's Art Day is a timely reminder that the art is very powerful and it has the ability to unite us and connect us in times of crisis. So
today we have Maury Aronson, who founded Global Arts Live in 1990. And Global Arts Live is the leading presenter of international performing arts in New England, bringing global music, contemporary dance, and jazz from around the world to stages across Greater Boston. Global Arts Live aspires to transcend borders, cultivate community, and enrich lives by putting the spotlight on artists from all corners of the globe and reflecting the diverse and vibrant community of Boston. I have Nick Capasso from Fitchburg Art Museum, the director of the Fitchburg Art Museum. Welcome, Nick. All right. And then we also have Arthur Rishi and Leslie Tyson from the Boston Landmarks Orchestra.
I have no idea when you guys sleep. Leslie, full-time dance teacher, Boston Public School. Oh my God, you probably don't even know what lunch, breakfast, or dinner is.
Well, I mean, I'm not currently a teacher now, but I had taught dance all the way at the beginning of the pandemic and was filming myself and sending my dance films to my classes. So I kind of made that change to working full-time with Landmarks Orchestra kind of right at the beginning of the pandemic. So
fantastic. You know, this is interesting. Nick is coming back to Sip and Chat because he was a guest, one of the first guests on May 16th. We've been doing this since May 6th. It's unbelievable. And I wanted to go back and listen to what he said almost a year ago. And, you know, I have to say, Nick, you look exactly the same. So 1 year went by and you were not affected at all. May, you know, so many things that we talked about, we had no idea what we were about to face. But I have to say, Nick, and we'll talk more about it because I don't want you to go first, but you were a visionary, and we're gonna go back to that because I wanted you back here so you can talk to us about, you know, this whole trajectory since the beginning of the pandemic. I think it's going to be wonderful for you to tell us that was projected and happened, that was projected and didn't happen, and here we are. But I just wanted to
anyway, good to see some faces and names that I know. I miss seeing you in person, and I hope you're all coping. It's been a challenging year, which I don't need to say. So I talked to a colleague who had been in the business for a while. I said, "What's your greatest fear?" And he said, "Oh, a pandemic, the 1918 flu pandemic." And that the paid event that we did was through our website. We kept it all in-house.
So you have a built-in software within your website that accepts registrations.
Our ticketing software.
Okay, perfect. Fantastic. Great narrator. Thank you so much. How about Nick? You're gonna go last because we're gonna wrap up the current, go back to the past, go through the present, and talk about the future, all in half an hour. So Leslie and Arthur, welcome to Sip and Chat. I'm glad you're here in a duo.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's great to have my colleague Leslie here with me. So a lot of what Maury was saying is rings very true with us. The world a year ago was very different, and we were filled with a lot of different emotions in late February, early March 2020. We had just so for those who don't remember from the wonderful introduction that Julia gave us, we mainly perform in the summer and mainly outdoors. So, late winter, early spring is the time where everything comes into place and we start moving into full gear for producing our summer concerts. So in early March, our board had just passed our budget. We had just made plans with several artistic collaborators to do some wonderful performances with themed
with Landmarks Orchestra just in the summer for about 3 years. And I just did backstage stuff and I just fell in love with the orchestra, the company. Every time I went there, people were smiling and so excited. And I was like, how can I be connected more with this orchestra? Them with an orchestra performance. So they actually get to be a part of the performance. So I'm just super excited to kind of get some of these projects up and running. I have so many other projects in my mind, but those are the three main ones we're gonna focus on right now.
And we can't wait to see all that happening in person or virtually or any way we can, listening, whatever it is, because it sounds amazing. And I am so glad you gave up on your office rent.
Well, it's certainly money that would have been not well spent in the past 13 months, but normally, those things don't always time well, but that's, as I said, one of the things in March 2020 that I'm glad timed the way it did.
So Nick, when you joined us, as I said, back in May, we were in the beginning of the pandemic, not knowing what was going to happen or what we were facing, but you kind of knew, because I remember, and I made notes when I was rewatching, and you said, we are preparing for another lockdown where we are working as if we were going to open and close again. So I thought that was amazing. You also said that you mentioned, we don't have any guidelines yet from anywhere, nowhere, globally, locally, statewide. I thought it was amazing. But you said, but we came up with our own guidelines, and then this is what we're doing. You also said that you were thinking about working on a regional artist relief, because Fitchburg, the gateway cities don't have access to the Boston artist relief. You also said that something about your strategic planning expiring, and I think you decided that you're not going to touch that. It was not the right time to touch on a strategic plan. You also said something really interesting. You said, we might not have a lot of money. We have a small staff, but we have a lot of creativity, and we rely on each other and sticking together. I thought it was really interesting, motivating. And also you talked about I think you at that time you were not thinking about starting virtual programs, but you did say, we are going to do virtual programs, and even after this pandemic, virtual programs are here to stay. We're going to continue to offer those. So I thought it was really great to go back and revisit what you said. So where are we now? Where are you now?
Okay, so we're an art museum. We're different than the performing arts organizations we just heard from, and during a pandemic, I'm very thankful for that, because we didn't have to close entirely.
When you distributed food, who did you partner with?
We partnered with the Fitchburg Public Schools, and we also partnered with an organization called Inform Fitchburg.
This is slightly off topic, but I'm struck by just how much liveliness and vibrancy that everyone is talking about, and looking forward to all these programs. And I wondered if there's ever any conversations or talk about this has been catastrophic, And are there ways of helping helping communities process grief?
Well, Mayor, I talked about that a little bit because I talked about these trauma-informed programs that we're going to be doing. Because there have been multiple levels of trauma, especially in places that were already experiencing a lot of trauma even before the pandemic, like Fitchburg. And now we've got grief to ladle on top of all of it. So we're not planning any grief programs per se, but the trauma programs are certainly going to be addressing that.
Yes, that's true. Thank you.
I would say we're addressing it indirect on the Hat Shell this summer. We are committed to finding another venue in communities that have been particularly hard hit, either by the pandemic or by issues of racial justice. So we are going to choose those communities carefully and try to dialogue with the leaders of those communities to see what they would find would be helpful.
Our first performance is a dance performance by a San Francisco-based company called ODC, and it's called Path of Miracles. And I've chosen that performance specifically because it is a performance of hope and rejuvenation after suffering.
I also know, Nick, that you have an interesting exhibition going on now with where people send their masks. They take a selfie of themselves with the mask. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, this is a project in our community gallery where a local photographer. It's a pandemic project.
Thank you so much. Congratulations for those who are vaccinated. Still be careful. Have a great, great, great rest of the week. A great weekend. Cheers.
Thank you, Claudia, for doing this for a whole year. Oh my God.
Thank you guys. And thank you, Julia, for helping me today. Thank you all.